Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Daily Life with Deb. Now I realize it's been a long time since I've been on here. I took a sort of a sabbatical, I guess you would say. I think the last video I posted, I had announced I was 18 weeks pregnant. No, actually, I think I did post like one more video after that, but I fully intended to be posting videos throughout my pregnancy and also early postpartum of just random things going on in my life, but just time got away from me. Life was busy. Um, I had a very good pregnancy, but I was also very tired, so I would say laziness also kind of contributed, I should say, to like not getting the videos out and that sort of thing. But anyway, I want to introduce you all to our little boy Tommy, Thomas Lee Crane the third, but he is napping right now. So as soon as he comes out, as soon as he wakes up, I will bring him out and let you all meet him. But in the meantime, I'm going to share with you my birth story from what I can remember. I really should have been writing things down, but it's kind of amazing how fuzzy things can get after a little while. So Tommy is 2 months old as of last Monday. It's hard to believe it's been that much time already. So it's kind of amazing how much you can forget in that length of time. But I'm going to try to tell you my birth story from what I can remember and kind of like some of the like from the early days of his life, some things we went through in that. So anyway, so I was due with him October 11th, and I was pretty sure I'd go late, but there was a lot of friends, or I say a lot of friends. There was a friend or two of mine that did go early, so I was like, well, I could go early, so let's be prepared and everything. So my due date came and went. We were pretty sure it was still going to be a little while, but sorry, I kind of I still mommy brain and I kind of went off for a second there. Didn't really know when. It was like I was really anxious up until my due date, and then thinking, oh, I could go early. And then when my due date came and went, it was just like I just got like really nonchalant about the whole thing. But anyway, so my sister was going to be my doula. She's like training to be a doula and working towards her certification. So anyway, so I said she could attend my birth. And I think in a way my body was kind of waiting for her to get down here because she wasn't going to be able to make it down till about 3 days after my due date, which we were nervous about, but I was like, well, she doesn't make it. She doesn't make it. Anyway, so I think my body was just kind of waiting for that because she got down here like 2 days or 3 days after my due date near the end of that day. So she was here a day and like a half, I think. Maybe the second day she was here, I think I was going into labor, but I didn't realize I was. It was kind of funny. That morning I woke up and I had a little bit of bloody show, I think. I didn't even know because I'm a first time mom. And I didn't really know what to look for or what I was looking for, but I sent a picture to my midwife and she's like, well, yeah, there's a little blood there. Just, you know, just kind of try to take it easy and because something could happen fairly soon. And so I kind of felt like, okay, I kind of thought within the next day or two, I was pretty sure I was going to have this baby. And I don't know if it was I was going into labor then or else it was just like this instinct in me was telling me like, oh, get all this stuff done and just do all the things and everything I wanted to do. I had really wanted to take my sister into town to the coffee shop and to like some thrift stores and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, why don't we do that today? Because I'm not in labor yet. At least I didn't think I was. I'm not in labor yet. Why don't we do that today? But first, we want to finish up this canning project. And also, I had a friend down here that I wanted my sister to meet because I had a lot in common and that sort of thing. And so we're like, okay, let's do this canning project in the morning. Then we're going to run to town and do this thrifting. And then in the evening, we're going to go visit my friend. And I'm kind of laying all this out in my mind, and my sister's like, oh yeah, whatever. So we kind of start into the day, and I feel like throughout the course of the day, I was getting like way more and more anxious and just very frustrated and like angry in a way. I was just very like, irritable and impatient. And I think back now, I think that maybe that was like a sign I was either going into labor or was even in labor. I had no contractions, nothing other than just being like just really, really on edge. As a matter of fact, I kind of rushed us through our town day, and then when we were standing there in the evening talking to my friend, I found myself kind of swaying, like just like I felt like I had to pace. I didn't know what was going on then, but I'm thinking now I was probably in labor or going into labor. So we came home and it was like 7 o'clock by that time, and so we sat down and decided to watch a movie. In the middle of the movie, I just felt like I had to get up and move. I just couldn't sit still. I just felt restless. And so I got up and started cleaning the kitchen. And anyway, we finished up the movie, eventually ended up going to bed. Now, my husband doesn't get home till midnight from his job. He works second shift, and he's almost an hour and a half away, or about an hour and a half away. Anyway, so he got home at like midnight, and I remember telling him, yeah, we had right when we got in bed about 12:30. I went to the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure I lost my mucus plug because there was like quite a bit of mucus like in the toilet and a little bit of blood. But I wasn't feeling anything else yet, and so I thought, well, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. Not gonna talk to my midwife yet because, obviously, I know women can lose their mucus plug like days, even weeks ahead, But I remember telling my husband that night, I'm like, we could have a baby within the next 24 hours, meaning like I could go into labor within the next 24 hours. I probably did say go into labor. I don't think I was thinking I'd have a baby then. I was thinking like I'd go into labor by then. Anyway, so that was maybe 12:30, quarter to 1. Anyway, so I woke up around 2 with a terrible like gas pain. Like it just literally felt like I really had to use the bathroom. And so I just like, got up, used the bathroom, and I believe I started leaking water around that time because I was just a little bit wet, but I wasn't like, my mattress wasn't wet or anything, so it didn't actually break. I think it just started leaking. So then I'm in the bathroom, and it was really painful. It was like a cramp, I guess. So I was actually breathing through it, but I didn't think it was like it. There was not there. My muscles were not contracting, so it's like, well, I didn't think that I was actually in labor. I mean, I was kind of wondering. I'm like, oh, well, some people say early labor feels like a gas pain or whatever. So I thought, well, this could potentially be it, especially since I was thinking I lost my mucus plug. So did I call my midwife then? Trying to remember if I called my midwife then or waited. No, I don't think I called her yet. My husband woke up and asked if I was okay because I think I was kind of moaning, and I told him kind of what was going on, but I was like, "We'll just go back to sleep because it could be a while yet. I could just be maybe going into labor, and it'll probably be tomorrow afternoon before we even have to do anything." So he went back to sleep, and I tried to go back to sleep, and I hadn't even fallen back to sleep yet when I felt another big wave of this pain, this cramp, and so I got up and went to the bathroom again, and as soon as I got up and moved, I started leaking more water again. Not much, just like maybe a few tablespoons, quarter cup at the most, maybe. So while I was on the toilet, I was like, well, maybe I better call my midwife and just kind of tell her what's going on because I might be coming in within the next while. So I called her, and she's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, you could be going into labor, but you're not having any contractions yet, right? I said, right. And she's like, I'm thinking that you're probably going to start contracting like in a few hours. So she's like, you probably really need to get some sleep. She's like, go take an Epsom salts bath so you can relax and maybe that'll slow things down a little bit. She's like, because at this point I had only gotten like 45 minutes of sleep, and she's like, you really need to get more sleep. You really need to rest. If you're going into labor, you're going to want to go into it more rested. She's like, let's try to slow things down a little bit, and so you can rest and get some sleep, and then we'll kind of see what happens from here. Well, so I went to take the Epsom salts bath like she said, and that was my plan. Take the Epsom salts bath and then go get back in bed and try to sleep the rest of the night. When I was when I was talking to her on the phone, I told her I wasn't contracting yet, and right when I told her that, I felt I had a contraction. It was pretty light, but it was enough to where I knew it was a contraction. I was like, no, I haven't had any contractions yet. Wait a minute. No, I think I'm having one. It was really funny. It happened like right then. So, that was when she's like, well, yeah, you're probably going to early labor and they're probably going to pick up over the next few hours, but just try to get some rest and everything. So anyway, so I get in the tub and, I probably made it in there 10 minutes. I had a contraction when I was on the phone. Then I had another one when I was like getting ready to get into the tub, which was maybe 5 minutes after I talked to her. Then I had another one in the tub. I think I had 3 of them in the tub, and I was only in there like 10 minutes. So they like started off 5 minutes apart, just like that. And they were painful, but like I don't think I had to breathe through them yet. They were just like, I definitely knew that they were contractions and that I was having contractions. So I had taken my phone in the bathroom, so I called her because they were already 5 minutes apart. And we were going to her house, or to her, she has like a little birth house. And it's like an hour and 20 minutes from our house. So she had said to like let her know if anything changes. And we were thinking by the time, when they get to 5 minutes apart, we should probably be heading to her place, probably. So I called her and I told her, well, I've had 3 more contractions since I talked to you. It's only been like 10, 15 minutes. Maybe it was 20 minutes, and she's like, yeah, well, you're probably still early. They could go on like that for a while. But she's like, but I don't think you're going to be able to relax when you're that far away and you know you're having these contractions. Why don't you guys just pack up your stuff, come on in. And she's like, you can just spend the rest of the night here. She got the bed there, just come on in and we can relax. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to do that. And my husband had come in to check on me while I was in there. And I got off the phone with my midwife and told him, let's just go. So he goes and wakes up my sister. And he starts getting things kind of gathered up. I had most everything in the van already, but there was like a couple of things we were grabbing. And from the time I got out of the tub and got dressed and came out here, my sister had gotten up. So maybe 5 minutes more past, maybe not. She comes up. She's all like sleepy and everything. And she walks up and she's like, "Okay, so what are we doing? Or are we going or something?" And right then it hit me, a severe, or would you say severe? I guess a very strong contraction hit me to where I was like hanging onto the bed and just like. I was breathing through it. I couldn't talk to her. It just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And then as soon as that passed, I think I was able to say, hang on a minute. And I'm timing my contractions on my phone at this point. And they are already going from like, they were still 5 minutes apart, I think, at this point. But after, it probably took us 10 minutes to gather things and get out the door. Maybe not even 10 minutes. And during that time, they went from 5 minutes apart to 3 minutes apart. So we got in the van, and I started out sitting up in the passenger seat because I wanted to use a seat warmer, thinking that would maybe help and provide some relief. So we got maybe 10, 15 minutes down the road, and I really, really felt like I just had to get on my hands and knees. I just felt like I could not sit upright anymore. Well, what I wanted to do was turn around and like lean forward on the front seat, like with my elbows on the seat, and just be down on my knees. But my husband's like, well, you really need to go in the back if you're gonna like get out of the seat. So I made it. I was like, okay, well, I'm good up here for a few minutes. Made it probably 10 more minutes. So we were maybe 20 minutes from the house when I was like, okay, I've got to get in the back. So we pulled over and switched. My sister and I switched places. She went up to the front and I got in the back, and we're in a minivan. So I got down. As soon as I got down on my hands and knees, my contractions got so painful I started having to vocalize through them. And by this point, I couldn't really. I was timing them on my phone. I had a little like a contraction timer app thing. And by this point, I was like, okay. I said to my sister, I said, Liv, I can't track these anymore. You need to do this for me. Handed her my phone. And so when a contraction would start, I would just say like, okay, and then breathe, moan, whatever through the contraction, and then tell her, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm done with that one. And we did that for, I was like just on my hands and knees, just breathing and moaning through the contractions. They were consistently about anywhere from 2.5 to 4 minutes apart, but most of them were around 2.5 to 3 minutes. And I kind of did that for the next maybe 30 minutes probably. I kind of lost track of time a little bit, but I was aware of what towns we were going through and everything like that. So, sorry, I looked at the wrong side of the camera there. I wasn't looking at you all. So, yeah, it was probably 50 minutes total to where I was just like breathing through them and kind of moaning and stuff. And then they got really, really intense, and I had to use the bathroom. So it was very, very difficult trying like not, because I really, really felt like I had to use the bathroom. And so you're trying to relax your muscles, relax through these contractions, but also trying not to use the bathroom. So that was kind of difficult. So I guess things got really intense, I would say, in the last 30 minutes or so. I had my sister come back there to the back of the van, and she was trying to apply some counter pressure. I was asking her like, do you have combs I can use, and tried using those, and nothing was really working really well. But the thoughts that were going through my mind were like, if this is early labor, how am I going to handle active labor? I mean, like, I knew that my contractions were really close together, so I was thinking to myself, maybe I am in active labor. I don't think I was thinking super clearly, because obviously if I really had thought it through, I would have realized I was in active labor. But at this time, I was still kind of thinking I'm in early labor, thinking I have so much further to go. I was like, wow, it's going to just get so much worse. So anyway, I just feel like the last maybe 30 minutes of the ride was just kind of a blur of like, I almost think I stopped telling her when my contractions stopped and started, because they were almost like one right on top of another. And so we got really, really close, and I felt like I had to throw up. And I had been feeling like that for a little while. And then finally we were just like minutes away, and I was like, I had this container we had brought. I was like, give that to me. I need to throw up. So I started throwing up. Really, I feel like when I started throwing up, the contractions maybe eased a little bit, if I remember right. I don't remember for certain. But, and one more thing was when we were, at some point on the trip, my midwife called to just check on me. And my sister talked to her. I couldn't talk to her. And she had her on speakerphone so I could hear. And the midwife's like, well, she does sound like she's pretty close. She's like, do you guys have a blanket with you in case baby's born on the way? And I just remember thinking, oh, please don't let it be born on the way, please. And so it wasn't, obviously. So we get there, and my little guy's waking up. I might need to go pick him up. Well, he might be falling back to sleep. So we get there, and the midwife comes out to the van and sees me there, and I'm still throwing up, and I'm just like feeling like I'm paralyzed. I don't even want to move. And she's like, "Oh, she's close." And she's like, "Okay, come on, we got to get you out." And at that point, I was kind of like, "Don't touch me." I was like, "Do I have to? Can I just have a minute?" She's like, "No, you got to get in here now." So we got in there, got in the birth house, and as soon as we walked in, I was like, "I have to use the bathroom." And so she let me run to the bathroom. She's like, "Okay, go to the bathroom, and then we need to check you. We need to see like what's going on and everything." And so I went use the bathroom. As soon as I came out, she's like, "Okay, let's get you checked." And suddenly it was like that. What sounded like the worst thing in the world. It was like, I don't want to get checked. And the thing is, I think I wasn't being reasonable because obviously I'm going to be pushing a baby out. Getting checked, was like should be the least of my worries. But anyway, so she's like, I'll be really quick. I'll be really fast. I'm like, okay. So I lay down and she checks me, and she's like, okay, you're ready, or you're done. I think she said you're done. And I wasn't comprehending what that meant. I went and I had to go to the bathroom again, so I went back in the bathroom. And my husband came in to check on me, and I said, "Can you ask her if she thinks I'm near transition?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he doesn't know what transition is, so he just goes out and asks her. And I heard her say, "She's done. She's through transition. She's done with that." And he comes back in, and he's like, "Well, she says you're done with transition, whatever that means." I'm like, "That means I'm ready to have this baby." And it was like that. I remember the feeling of like knowing I was through transition, because my whole pregnancy, that was what I feared the most, was like transition, because to me it just sounded horrible. And let me go grab my little guy. Hey buddy. Hey buddy. Oh. Yeah. You can help mommy make a cake. Want to help mommy make a video? This is Tommy. When he's woke up a little bit more, I'll let you all see him. So he, let's see. She was filling up the birth pool, and I came out of the bathroom, and she's like, "Okay, the bed's ready if you want to lay in the bed for a little bit." I got in the bed, and I lay down, and it instantly got really uncomfortable. And then I was like, "Oh no, I need to get back on my hands and knees." So I got on my hands and knees on the bed, and she brought me the birth ball, because I had previously told her I wanted to use the birth ball in my labor. And so as soon as I decided to kind of lean on it, and as soon as I leaned on it, I don't know if it was the position change or what, but suddenly, like, I started getting really hard contractions, which they were pretty hard already, but like I got a couple that were like, wowzers. So then she's like, okay, maybe you should just get in the pool. So I got in and was like, oh, this feels so good, because momentarily it did. I don't know how long I was in there, because I kind of lost track of time, but I think I was maybe in there 10 minutes maybe, when I told her, I was like, I feel like I have to push. And now I had been wanting to wait to push until like my body just kind of did it on its own, so I didn't know if I was at that point yet or not. I was kind of like, I was going to kind of deny this urge to push for a little bit. And she's like, well, if you want, she's like when you contract, you can do a gentle push when you contract each time. So I was like, okay, I'll try that, just a gentle push. And I was scraping on something. So the next contraction, I did the slightest little push. And then it was like, my body, I guess, decided like, okay, it's go time. We're going to push. And the urge to push just got so strong that I just couldn't help it. So I started pushing, and I pushed it was 45 minutes in total, but honestly, it really, when thinking back, it seems more like it was like 15 minutes. It didn't seem long at all. So, somebody tooting. Um, so I pushed for like 45 minutes, and then, right when it felt like, well, it didn't really feel like any progress was being made. I felt like it was, but I just felt like it was like we were still so far. I mean, his head was like, he wasn't quite crowning yet, but his hair was showing, and his head was partly out, and so I knew we were very close, but still, it kind of felt like there wasn't a lot of progress being made. So finally, the midwife, or I say finally, it wasn't that much time, but the midwife brings a chair in there, like a folding chair, and she's like, okay, I need you to stand up and put a leg up on the chair. And I was like, I felt like I could not do that. I just felt like I just couldn't do it. And she was like, you have to do it. Um, Knowing now, what I didn't know then was she was having a hard time finding his heartbeat, and she like kind of needed me to change positions and had to get the baby out. Um, so I mean, she was finding his heartbeat fine all the way along, but then there was a little while there where I don't know if he was just the way he was positioned or what, she couldn't really find it, and so she was like, we need to get him out. So she's like, you have to do this. So I stood up, put my leg up on the chair, and oh my goodness, I was thinking to myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I think I did say to somebody, I was like, I can't do this. And I'm like, yes, you can. You can do this. And there was about 2 big, mighty pushes, and out he popped. We didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl, so that was like, it was funny, like the whole time I was in labor and pushing and everything, I wasn't really thinking about whether it was a boy or a girl, or the fact that we were going to find out or anything like that. It was just like my focus was on pushing that baby out, just thinking of him as the baby. And then as soon as he was out, then it was like, oh, we're going to find out if it's a boy or a girl. And so I looked, and I saw it was a boy, and I told my husband, and I was like, it's a boy. And we sat down and enjoyed those first moments together. And then after that, I got had an herbal bath and did all I see what. Scraping my chair. Got my herbal bath and everything. So, long story short, on the rest of his early days, I'll kind of tell it to you all briefly here so that this video doesn't get really, really long. I tried to latch him, and he would not latch, and it was very painful when he did try. So we tried, spent a couple hours there just kind of resting and trying to get him to latch, and he still hadn't nursed well when the midwife had to go and on some other calls, and so we were going to head home. And I'm sorry, I'm going to fix this chair. It's there. Hopefully I'm still decently in the camera frame. So we stopped at a dentist on the way home, a pediatric dentist, and to look for tongue ties, and he looked and said that, well, he thought he might have had a posterior tongue tie, but it was real minor, and it wouldn't be enough to affect his nursing or his latch. So we just thought, well, baby's just got to learn how to nurse. So then we went on home. And that first night, I tried to get him to latch, and I had a pump that the midwife had loaned me that it was missing one side, one cup, or whatever they call the cup thing. It was missing one, so I could only do one side at a time, and it wasn't the right size flange, so it didn't fit me correctly. And but it was something. And I tried to get colostrum out, and would get I pumped for 20-30 minutes and get just like a couple of drops. And I was scraping the drops out and like on a toothpick and feeding it to him on a spoon, like putting the spoon in his mouth and just like scraping it on his tongue, just so he'd get some. And that was all I was giving him. I felt like he really needed more to eat, and I asked a couple of people, and they were like, "No, well, baby's stomach is very small. They don't really need much." So finally, like 24 hours later, I was like, I don't feel like he's getting enough. He just really isn't. And I had bought all the ingredients previously for a baby formula, the Weston A. Price. If you all are familiar with the Weston A. Price Foundation, it's a very good, very complete recipe. So I decided, well, you know what? They say not to give a newborn formula like that, but it's better than nothing. He's not getting anything to eat right now. And I couldn't find donor milk or anything locally. So we just mixed up the formula and gave it to him. And he was like a different baby. Like that first 24 hours, he slept a lot. He was very, very sleepy baby. And then when he was awake, he just cried and cried. And then after I started feeding him the formula, he was just totally different. He still slept a lot because he was a newborn, obviously, but he was just much more contented and like alert when he was awake. So, he fell back to sleep on me. But I'm sorry, everybody. I totally lost my train of thought. And I should edit this out, but I'm not going to, because this mama doesn't really have time for editing, but wants to get back to her YouTube channel. So you're gonna see the real deal here. You're gonna see the real mama. Let me think about what I was saying. Okay, yes, so I gave him the formula. It was like 3 days later, my milk came in, and he was still having latching problems. So how we were doing it was giving him the formula with an eyedropper. And then when my milk came in, I started mixing it with the formula because I still wasn't getting tons, but it was definitely, it came in because I was engorged and everything. And the morning that my milk came in and I got all engorged, it was so painful that my husband went to Walmart and got me a regular pump. It was like a wearable pump, and that made a huge difference in the amount of milk that I could get out, as well as just my comfort level and all that. So for the next day, we worked on the engorgement and all that, along with, I think that was when we switched him to a bottle. I did not want to use the bottle because I was still determined to breastfeed, but I kind of got to the point where it was like, there comes a time when you got to do what you got to do. And I thought, maybe if I get him to be able to latch on a bottle, then I can transition to the breast later or something. Or else, if nothing else, just feed him with the bottle. Not that I wanted to, but obviously I can't do an eyedropper his whole life. So we got him on the bottle, and he took to it pretty easily, but he just still could not latch on the breast. I couldn't figure out why he could latch on the bottle, but he couldn't on the breast. Anyway, so it would have been 5 days later, probably, my midwife came to do a checkup with him, and she did a 24-hour checkup as well, but she did a checkup with him and brought a friend of hers who had several of her children had posterior tongue ties. And so she was very familiar with them. So she came and was like trying to help me to latch him and try and show me all the tricks and everything. And finally she looks to see if he has his tongue tie. And she's like, yeah, he's got a really bad tongue tie. So we called this dentist up in Rogers, Arkansas, which is about 2.5 hours from us. And made an appointment for the very next day. So by this, he was born on a Wednesday, and this was the Monday we made the appointment. So he was like 6 days old, I guess. We took him up there, and he looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, he has a tongue tie. I'm not sure how much it's affecting his latch, but we can take care of it for you if you'd like." We're like, "Yeah, we want it done." So they were able to get him in and do it that day. And when the dentist brought him back out, he's like, "Yeah, he was actually a lot tighter back in there than we realized." Oh, and one thing I had forgotten to mention is we started taking him to the chiropractor as well for latching issues. Um, and he had had his first appointment. He was born on Wednesday. He had his first appointment on Friday. So we were kind of running all over for the first like couple of weeks of his life. So we got the tongue tie taken care of that Monday, and came home, and let's see, I think he did latch like that very same day we had the tongue tie revision done. He latched for just like a few minutes. It was like over the next like week he would like latch for a minute or two here and there, very rarely, like maybe every 2 days I could get him to latch for like 30 seconds. Still couldn't get him to do it, but he would drink the bottle. So several people had told me to try nipple shields to see if that would help. Um, and then maybe I can like wean him off of the nipple shields later. So my husband went and got some, and that actually did work really well. I was actually to pretty much able to pretty much just cut him off the bottle cold turkey, pretty much, and just use the nipple shields. And that felt like a huge step forward from using an eyedropper to him nursing on the breast with the use of nipple shields. And we were just kind of like, okay, well, if we just have to use nipple shields all, until he's weaned, so be it. That's just what we'll do. And because at first it seemed like we had just gone so far with him, and we had, but I was kind of perfectly satisfied with how things were once he was able to nurse with the nipple shields, because just no more heating bottles, no more having to carry everything with us. Every time we went somewhere, we had to bring the pump and the bottles and a way to heat the bottles, a thermos of hot water, and everything. And this just seems so much easier. Well, let's see. So I used the nipple shields for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and as time went on, I started feeling like they weren't as convenient as I thought they were. Because every time he wanted to nurse, I had to make sure I had the nipple shields near me, and have to go, and always making sure I washed them and sanitized them and everything like that. And so when he was a month old, just the day before he turned a month old, my husband had gone on a hunting trip, and so Tommy and I had a little bit of like kind of just downtime. We were gonna just have kind of a leisurely time at home together. I was like, I think it was early that morning, I was nursing him, and he was kind of struggling to nurse, even with the nursing shield, because I have a really fast letdown, and the nipple shield would fill with milk, and then he would have like all this milk squirting out into his mouth. And I decided, well, I'm just going to try latching him without the nipple shields and see if that works. And so we struggled and we fought with it for like, I would usually give up after 2 or 3 minutes of fighting with them. It would be like, okay, well, he's not ready yet, or I'm not going to fight with him right now. And I would just go back to the nipple shield. But this time I decided, no, I'm gonna see if he actually will nurse on the breast. And so I stuck with it it probably took us 5, maybe even 10 minutes. It was quite a long time. We were kind of, I say wrestling with it, but just trying to get him to latch, and him popping off and then crying, and then I get him back on. And anyway, after enough time, it was just like it clicked or something like that. And then he latched, and he's like, oh, this is how you do it. And so he was able to get his whole feeding just nursing off of me. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try to go all day today without the nipple shields, and I was like, I can use them tonight if I need to. And we went all that day, we went all that night, and then I decided we went 24 hours without nipple shields. We really don't need them anymore. And he was a little clumsy at first as far as like how he latched and how he nursed, but we kept working with correcting things. And hard to believe that's been over a month now already, and so he's been nursing on the breast for over a month now and seems to be doing good. He does struggle with my fast letdown. I kind of tend to drown him. I'm still trying to figure out how to conquer that, so if anyone has any experience on that, drop me a comment and give me some pointers if you have them. But so yeah, I would say his first 2 weeks were the roughest, just trying to figure out the feeding and everything like that, and then me healing postpartum and everything. But I feel like I'm doing pretty good now. He's nursing good, growing like a weed. I'll probably just post some pictures near the end here, and you guys will see him in future videos. But here's a little guy, as best as you can see him. He definitely was well worth everything we had to go through to get him here. Brings us lots and lots of joy. So yeah, that's the story of Tommy. I'll add some pictures to the end here so you all can kind of see him, and he'll, like I said, he'll appear more in later videos. So, oh, well, I guess that'll be about it. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and share my videos and subscribe if you haven't already, and I guess we'll see you all in the next video. Until then, take care and God bless.